I can never play virtual reality again because I always get sick, right? Wrong. Meanwhile, I have been running the gaming room for 5 years and have been in virtual reality almost every day since then, and I also struggled with nausea at the beginning. Almost every single person among you carries the risk of experiencing VR sickness or motion sickness. But as you can see, I've conquered the nausea, and you'll cope with it through acclimatization and the right tips. So that you can easily get used to this period and quickly get rid of motion sickness, I will give you a few tips in this video that helped me at the beginning and that I received from the community. In addition, I have done some research and incorporated your tips so that you have a comprehensive collection of tips on how to best get started in virtual reality. If you are interested in more tutorials and information on how to improve your MetaQuest 3 even further, take a look at the info card up there. I will give you the most important tips, tricks, and tutorials on how to get the most out of your MetaQuest 3 and not waste any potential. But you can also watch the video calmly until the end. I will also link this playlist again in the end card. If this video helps you or you like it, then give me a thumbs up and write your opinion and tips in the comments. I enjoy reading your comments and try to answer as many as possible. Your comments also help me because videos with many thumbs up and comments are shown to more people. And that is precisely important right now, where Quest 3 has been released and virtual reality is on the verge of leaving the niche and reaching the mainstream. And now let us commence. Have an enjoyable time observing the video. What exactly is motion sickness? Motion sickness or cyber sickness is a sensation of dizziness, nausea, or general discomfort that can occur, particularly in individuals who are new to virtual reality. The feeling arises whenever different sensory stimuli do not match. Example, you ride a roller coaster in virtual reality, but you are sitting on a chair and not moving at all in reality. The eye at present perceives a movement, but the sense of balance does not, which leads to the brain sounding the alarm and you can feel sick to your stomach. And now we start with the most helpful tips. Tip 1. Create good conditions. When I started with the gaming room, I actually struggled with motion sickness. Dumb when you just started a YouTube channel on virtual reality, released many videos, and then for the first time truly experience virtual reality and feel nauseous. Fortunately, the motion sickness has completely disappeared for me now. Motion sickness can be reduced or even completely avoided through practice and a few tricks. What really helped me a great deal in the early stages was to ventilate the room prior to playing, to have a meal or a beverage before playing. Moreover, drinking while playing or taking short breaks also provides help. Tip 2 begins with calm apps in virtual reality. The most exciting thing that many can imagine in virtual reality is a roller coaster ride. However, this is one of the most dangerous apps when it comes to motion sickness. That's why I recommend starting with some calmer apps so you don't fall off your chair right away. Here you can orient yourself in the Quest store according to the comfort level: pleasant, moderate, and demanding. If you're completely new to virtual reality, you should start with the comfortable comfort level. Great choices for beginners include Beat Saber, Job Simulator, Moss, Superhot VR, Walkabout Mini Golf, or 11 Table Tennis. 3. Utilize apps that transfer movement into VR to prevent motion sickness, especially for inexperienced VR users. Select games and apps that closely replicate the real world in virtual reality. This implies that you ought to select games initially where you utilize the room scale and your actual environment is transformed into virtual reality. Room scale means that you don't move further by pressing the analog sticks, but actually walk in the direction in which you want to move. Tip 4. Pay attention to your eye distance. In the Quest, you can adjust the interpupillary distance continuously from 58 to 70 mm, covering an IPD, which is an eye distance range of 53 to 75 mm. If you don't know your interpupillary distance, use smartphone apps to measure face and determine eye distance. But with the super clear pancake lenses, it doesn't matter as much as with previous generations. Turn wheel at bottom of Quest 3 until you see everything clearly. Pay attention to correct fit of VR glasses, for which you received detailed instruction when you first started MetaQuest. Tip 5. Pay attention to comfort settings. At the beginning of a new game, it's worth taking a look at the settings. In almost every VR game, there are the so-called comfort settings. You will now learn which comfort settings I recommend for you. Tip 6. teleport versus smooth locomotion. If you don't have the option to use room scale, as I just recommended, and have to use the analog stick for movement in the game, then I recommend selecting the so-called teleport mode in the respective game's comfort settings. This implies that you do not execute smooth motion, but instantaneously move from one location to another. By teleporting, you avoid smooth moves, which may induce nausea. If you want or need to use movements, I have 3 more tips for you. First, when you move with the thumbstick, only look in the direction you are also walking. Looking to the side while running may cause nausea once more. Another suggestion is to decrease the speed at which you move in the game, if feasible. The slower, the lower the risk of nausea. If there is no possibility for this in the game, then you just have to not fully press the thumbstick when moving and then run a little slower. Third tip, play standing up and move a little on the spot when you move in virtual reality to trick your brain into thinking that you are actually walking. Tip 7, snap turn versus smooth turn. Regardless of the mode of transport, I also have a recommendation regarding rotation in a game. It is preferable if you do not turn in the game using the thumbstick, but instead simply turn in reality with your headset. However, if it has to be turning via the thumbstick, then check the options to see if there is the possibility of a so-called snap turn. There you can then set that with each lateral press of the thumbstick, your line of sight is shifted by a fixed number of degrees in that direction. With this step-by-step rotational movement, you will feel significantly less nauseous than with the smooth rotational movement set to smooth turn. But as I said, it's best to turn in real life and not rely on the thumbstick at all. Tip 8. Use the vignette. A vignette is a blind that limits visibility when moving. If you move, the vignette will reduce your field of view and you will experience tunnel vision. However, there are no general settings for the vignette on the Quest, but you have to check from game to game whether there is a vignette in the comfort settings. And you always have to look, it's always called something slightly different. So try a little bit around. Tip 9, reduce latencies. You can use your Quest not only as a standalone headset. With a powerful PC, you can play games from Steam VR like Half-Life Alyx or Lone Echo. On the one hand, the whole thing can be done wired, where you won't have any major latency issues. However, using Virtual Desktop or AirLink, you also have the option to transmit PC VR games wirelessly, although the latency may be slightly higher. Do you have a good Wi-Fi and follow the tutorial I gave you here on the channel? Then you won't have any problems there either. However, there may be latency problems, especially with slow Wi-Fi. This means you look to the side and the headset responds with noticeable delay. This is not optimal and can also lead to nausea again. If you want to know how to play PC VR games on your Metacast, and preferably without latency, then see this info card. I've uploaded my Erling tutorial for you. You should definitely check it out. In addition, I will also link you to a playlist in the end card where I show you my video about Virtual Desktop and also give you tips on how to keep the latency very low. Tip 10. Ginger. Prepare ginger tea for yourself about 1 hour before you start playing your instrument. He calms your stomach and you won't feel sick so quickly. Alternatively, you can also suck on a ginger candy or chew gum while playing. This directs your attention to the chewing action and thus distracts you from the unpleasant discomfort caused by the taste. A very helpful tip from the community that has already helped many people. Enjoy fresh air and stay cool. Turn on a fan directed at you while playing and open the window to let in a refreshing breeze. This has several effects. On the one hand, pleasant air is provided in the room. Your body is cooled down and the chance of headaches is reduced. Tip 12. Play games well rested. The likelihood of experiencing nausea increases when an individual is fatigued and lacking rest. Thus, you ought to commence your initial VR sessions well rested and preferably subsequent to going for a stroll in the fresh air. If you are better in training, you can of course play whenever you want. It doesn't matter at all. Tip 13. No means no. If you still feel queasy despite all the tips, you should stop playing immediately and not overexert yourself. If you continue to play despite feeling unwell, this discomfort can worsen. In about 5 to 10 minutes, I have a strong urge to vomit, and this feeling will persist for a significantly longer duration of time. Dear, take a short break, have a drink, look out the window, go outside for some fresh air, and then continue for 15 minutes. Tip number 14, never ever give up. Even if you see at the start that you feel sick repeatedly, It is important to stay on the ball, take small steps, play regularly. In addition, take regular breaks. Many VR players had to go through that, and it typically goes more quickly than you believe. And no, the argument I cannot. Playing VR, always nauseous, not possible. That's nonsense. All will get used to it, all will be trained out of it, some faster, others slower, but eventually everyone will adjust. Tip 15, listen to professionals. And if all else fails, here is a tip from an experienced sailor.
If you are experiencing seasickness, then you have a fear of death. And if you are truly seasick, you are even fearful of remaining alive. Then you would rather be deceased. Consuming apple cake assists in that situation. Yes, tastes great going up.
Tips for motion sickness? Do you suffer a lot from it, or how did you get rid of it? Feel free to share your experiences in the comments. I'm thrilled to get a message from you. Like or find this video helpful, give me a thumbs up, and recommend it further. On the right, you'll find my Quest 3 videos, etc. As promised, tutorial on how to do it. Decrease PCVR latency to minimize motion sickness risk effectively in gaming. Video on left side, shown to you by the all-powerful YouTube algorithm. Thank you for your thumbs up, your comments, and thanks to my Patreons for your financial support.